3, 2, 1.
Busy, busy bodies. Busy, busy bodies. Busy, busy bodies.
Well,
Right.
first is first, guys. This
First
is our
is first.
This is our
Actually,
first
first is first.
episode. First episode of Busybodies.
You know what? You're
What's
right.
good?
As he's getting older, he is getting wiser. First is first, and that's
He's
that's-
moving up in the world, Jake.
yeah. You know, I
You
was
need
never
to,
great
hey.
at math, but I think you got it figured out. Let
Hey,
me tell you.
it's only up from here.
Yeah.
It's only
It's
up.
only
from
2, 3, 4.
No.
Hey,
Let me tell you,
You
what,
got
something
it,
right
you got
now.
it.
First is first.
First is
All right.
first.
Thank you guys for coming. This is a great cast. Okay.
Well, we're
okay.
busybodies.
Yes, we are the Busy Bodies podcast. What got us to choose that name?
Well, we're busy.
We're busy people. We are so busy. I was shocked I could even make it today. I am just so busy.
I had so many other things to do.
Yeah, I had to drop my dog at a dog hotel,
Wait,
which
what?
is which is a
Wait.
real
okay, wait,
thing.
wait.
Yeah.
Wait, can you clarify the dog hotel?
Well, what's crazy about it is it's in the name. It is a hotel for dogs.
Is it expensive?
This is the world we live in now.
It's not cheap. It's not, it's like I assumed a hotel for dogs wouldn't be that much, but it's not cheap, you know what I mean? And of course my dog is like a demon, so like I'm like yeah, I'm bringing in Atlas, and every time on the other end of the phone they go, "Huh, Atlas, right. Okay."
Yeah.
Well,
they're
he likes
dreading
to
it.
climb, and he can't hang out with the other dogs, so we're gonna put him in his own room.
That's why it's a hotel.
They like Hannibal Lecter my dog. They're like,
They're like, yo, this dog does not like to chill with the other dogs.
like he doesn't bite or anything. He just gets in. He's like, "What's your name? What's your name? Hi." Yeah. So yeah, he's at a dog resort right now. I mean, I think resort is a stretch. I wouldn't call that place a resort, but
Get massages during the afternoon.
I don't know what they do to him in
I
there.
wouldn't be
As a
surprised
great
if they
parent.
start doing something like that
I
to
mean,
dogs.
honestly.
No, I did a walk around and
no, they ain't massaging my
I
dog.
saw
I
the-
do
saw
know
the
what's in there then,
spa,
yeah.
I
Yeah,
saw
I
the, but yeah, I never thought in a million
Did you
years.
say I saw the spa? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
They got a spa in there for dogs?
Well, I mean, it's just like a metal tub they wash the dog in, but I'm assuming that's a spa for a
I
dog.
mean, it makes
you know?
sense.
But yeah. Anyways, yeah, dropped my dog at the dog resort, and here we are. So I guess we should go through introductions, right?
I mean, that sounds like one part of who you are, Jake.
Yeah, that's my whole identity is driving my dog off at dog resorts. That's where I get off.
Well, let's break down one of our busybodies over here. So, Kirsten, you want to tell us about yourself?
Oh, well, I'm Kirsten. How are you doing?
Nice.
Yeah, what's
Just
up?
one
Do I
name.
tell you
That's-
guys or
what
do
you
tell
got
them?
going
I
on?
mean, you guys know me, so
I mean, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm gonna just say 3 things about me.
Okay.
I love cheeseburgers, but I am gluten-free, dairy-free. And
That seems like a battle
Hey.
off the top.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
my struggle of life.
Yeah.
I just feel once you hit gluten-free, dairy-free,
Yeah,
you got to say
yeah.
goodbye to the burgers.
Like,
You
Yeah.
just, you got to...
I've had some kind of good ones. Okay, some little good ones.
I like struggling.
Yeah, that's my favorite
Yeah.
hobby. I do music,
Nice.
entertainer vibes.
Do music hard. I like it.
Yeah. And then I'm from Canada.
Nice.
Those are 3 good topics, right?
Those, yeah.
Start off with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, before I met Kirsten, fun fact, I genuinely
Is this going to
thought-
be fun? Am I gonna have a good time?
It should be.
Run
Okay.
around.
I genuinely thought every part of Canada was covered in snow
Oh,
24/7
nice,
of
dude.
the year round.
No, Jake, you don't
Like-
even understand.
That's all I had drafted of Canada in
We
my
were-
head.
no,
How
the
far does your
border.
like topographical knowledge go? Though, to be fair, you're just like
Well-
Canada. That's where the snow is, right? Just all
well,
of it.
you know,
That's where all the snow in the world is in Canada.
I'll put it out now. It was like 9 years ago, so we've overcome that
But,
state
but
of mind.
we were literally
But
at the
Dude, Google
border,
Maps
bro.
has been out for a long time, bro. I'm just gonna put that out there.
I was driving through the border.
Uh-huh.
We crossed the border, and my
Right.
first question to Kirsten was like, "Where's all the snow?" I was like, "Why is there no
buddy.
snow here?"
I
It's
looked
good thing
at
you're
him.
cute.
No, that was not satisfying.
You're,
at all.
you're like, what? You get past the border, you're like, what is this? Where's?
I've been
where's
Oh,
lied to
you're
my
in
whole
Canada.
life.
You're literally like, babe, where's the powder? What's going on? Oh man.
I'm dead.
Aw.
But
Okay, baby boy.
Yeah,
what's 3 of your
what about
favorite
you?
things?
well, so I sell houses
Wait, well, first off, name.
Well, first thing you should know about me is
Busybody number 2.
Yeah, I sell houses, I make bank, and that's how I do my stuff.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
All right, guys. My name is Brandon Guerrero for everyone watching.
Mm.
All right, so I sell houses for the last 8 years, started here in Los Angeles. Thankfully, now I can sell houses in 5 different states of America. You know, outside of that, I do a lot of personal training. Physical activity is a big part of my life. I love doing that. And then outside of that, you know, I just like,
Do you do that in 5 different states as well, or is it just an LA thing?
you know, if I fly to 5 different states, I could do it there.
All right, okay.
I was about to say you're
But-
so much more professional. Than
Yeah,
mine.
yeah. Yours is like, I like cheeseburgers.
Yeah. La, la,
Brandon's
la,
like,
la,
well,
la.
I have a real estate
Yeah, I'm
license.
gonna
in
tell you
5
guys
different
exactly
I sell
states.
houses.
what I do here. I don't eat cheeseburgers.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's the one.
You're like, I balance my checkbooks. Very
I eat a
cool.
celery stick every morning.
Yeah.
God, no, celery sticks are hard to eat. That's I'm not about
Okay, okay. Man, that's personal. So bro, you know what's funny is I'd consider them a pretty easy vegetable to eat, all things
Oh,
considered. I don't know how you're eating them now. Like now, I want a sidebar of you trying to eat one.
Let's leave that for another.
Oh,
Oh my
okay. Well,
God.
was that 3?
That was 2.
No,
Okay,
no,
okay,
but
what's your third?
We'll leave it
Make
at
this one
We'll leave it
special.
at 2. We'll leave it at 2.
No, we like the
It's
3. What's number 3?
No, come on. She put her heart on the line
Yeah,
with liking
come on,
cheeseburgers
man.
and also being dairy free.
Thank you.
You got to hit us with a third.
all right. Well, every time I go out to eat with her, I tell everyone to make sure I'm gluten filled. And I was like, every time we go out, when I
Maybe
hit
you
the
should have
window-
stopped it too. I don't ever want to go out to eat with you and hear you go, I'm gluten filled. Like this poor waiter has such a hard day and she's got you going, well, I'm gluten free. And you're like, I'm gluten filled. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, great. Great.
That's literally
No,
what
it
it goes
happens
by. It's
every
funny. It's
time.
funny.
Oh, man.
I gotta make fun
Dude,
of
you're
it at the
prepping
same
the
time.
dad jokes already. That's like,
Oh,
oh,
no, no,
God.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Next thing you know,
Oh.
you're gonna be at a grocery store and be like,
Jake, you're laughing without us.
Yeah,
I
no,
want to be
I'm
involved.
curious.
hold on, the joke's loading. Give me a second. You're gonna be like, oh, all this is mine.
All this is mine.
Yeah.
Was that it? Was
Wait,
that
can you
it?
repeat
Yeah.
that laugh really quick?
You got a guttural laugh.
It's just one of those things that was funnier in your mind.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
story of my
Well, I guess
life.
it goes into your next.
Yeah, hi, my name's Jake Walker, not a comedian. No, I am a
dun, dun.
professional pretender, I guess you'd say. An actor for some. I'd say professional pretender. Also do music, you know what I mean? Struggle with it, but I do it. No. What else? What's the last one? What's the last one? What's a fun one I could
The
say?
dog hotel.
Yeah, what is
was
a fun
great.
one?
Oh yeah, I'm a dog daddy now. That's
Yeah.
like that is so much. It's such a part of my personality. And I didn't think I was gonna be the type of person to like be showing photos of my dog to people, but I totally do that at
Aw.
a vapid rate. But yeah, what's our goal here? What's our goal of the pod, people?
Moving parts about how you operate in your career path
Mm.
and how
Mhm.
you
You
deal
know,
with struggles. and-
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say like challenges, you know, like we've had to overcome in our industries and what's made us who we are today, you know. And just obvious and just also just generally just hearing, you know, the success stories and, you know, going through also mental health with people. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Especially in today's world. Even if you want to break it down even smaller, just like Los Angeles alone.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a pretty big problem here.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, oh, dude. Speaking of, when's like the last time you cried?
Yesterday.
Oh,
I'm really
And
fully honest.
we all laugh about it.
right,
Um,
right,
Oh, haha,
yeah.
she struggled.
Oh man, you
Oh,
know,
man.
gosh, the last time I cried, Iron Claw. I think
Iron
just
Claw.
recently saw Iron Claw.
movie.
No.
Yeah, I used to be a brother too. That line really, really screwed me up. That was probably the last time I cried. That was about a week ago.
Yeah.
A week ago, yeah. Yeah, but yes, mental health. Sorry, it's just that whole scene, all that really got to me. Yeah, but I think you're totally right. I think the day and age we live in, especially with mental health and the influence on like social media, and I think just what it does to people is something that I feel like kind of talked about, but I feel like it's always nice to hear a perspective. Like I know whenever I'm listening to someone, I admire, really care about, and you kind of hear them talk about their struggles, it just makes it feel we all just want that connection.
Yeah.
Like we all just want someone to be like, "Yes, okay, I get it." Like they get what I'm going through because we spend so much time in our head. Like you ever think about that? Like how much time we're just living inside our brain when you're washing dishes or driving, and for me chewing the inside of my lip raw until I like thought of every possible outcome in my life. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely, when I'm thinking about it, I'm still in my head.
yeah, exactly. There's something about like when you finally hear uh someone say something you were thinking about. And you're like, oh my God, yes. There's
Right,
there's
right.
something about being seen like we're primitively, tribalistic creatures. Like we wanted to be communities of people. We wanted to be understood and heard. And like that has not been lost on us. And if even more, I'd say it's more part of our reality today than it's ever been. I mean, if you think about it, like social media is basically a bunch of different tribes of people having communication with each other, and that's why sometimes there's war on there, that's why sometimes there's love on there, that's why there's compassion and hate and all that. It's like this giant pool of different emotions, but I think it's why we're influenced by it. Like I think it's why we love it so much. Like what's the first thing you do when you see a post? Like where do you go first?
Well, I would say for the ones that I do follow, if I see a post that instantly catches my attention,
Right.
then I'll go down and read the caption.
Right.
You
And
know,
where's the next place you go? Like as human beings, what's the first thing we want to do when we see a post or something we enjoy, right? We want to see the comments. We want to see, has someone said something
Right.
about this that I was thinking?
Mhm.
Or we want to see what people's dialogue is on it and stuff like that, which I think is so interesting. Like we are immediately drawn to the consensus or opinion of something that's going on, especially on a
Right.
post. Like we are just so fascinated by the dialogue of it and everything. And I think it's because, and I think that's what's led to like this mental status with us about everything, with like even not having an opinion on something. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to do now because like you want to always be part of the conversation. You didn't realize you were missing out on the conversations till social media really kicked in. And I think that has had an effect on us mentally. You know what I mean? Because if we're not participating in conversations, like what are we participating in? Even though we never used to have that thought. But I'm ranting here. But I was thinking about that a few days ago. It's like you kind of always want to make sure the FOMO is real. Like that's a real thing and that's had such a
It's also
adverse effect.
transitional too, I think, because social media has changed throughout the years.
Right.
And I always try to turn back to what's my relationship with this. Am I using it as a tool, or am I so obsessed with it that it's like directing my steps and it's directing my thoughts and it's putting me in a place of worry or FOMO or
Mhm.
like, comparison,
Mhm.
and having to restructure how I'm using something is so
Mhm.
important because it's the same as a microphone.
Can I ask you a question actually?
Mhm.
What's up, baby?
They're
Uh,
connected.
do you feel that, because I know even I do, regardless of like I've been so thankful for like my successes and stuff, and it's a constant journey. But do you feel uh comparison? Do you feel like yourself comparing when you're on social media? Do you still feel it today? Like when you're doing like your work and stuff, do you like, what do you do to try to avoid it? What do you do to like what's your thought process to make sure you don't run into it? And when you do, how often is it? How does it mess with you? Like I'm just curious
Yeah.
because you grew up in social media. Like you were one of the founders of what we consider, influencing and being a social artist and stuff. Like you were your whole family was like a huge founder of all that. And I've always been so curious because I am late to the game with all that. So I'm curious how you handled that, you know?
Well, I feel like growing up, my parents really instilled
Mm-hmm.
identity. And the thing
Cool.
is that when in every life, a day is trying to push you away from your natural identity.
Mm.
And so as I'm going through life, anything that's triggering something in me that's saying you're not worth it, you're too this, too much, I have to step back and remember this is not my identity.
Oh, I love
So
that.
like who am I has nothing to do with all the things that I like or all the things that I do or what I'm attached to. Like last night I was even driving home and I was like, wow, the fact that I have a family and friends that I love, that enough makes me feel like I am valued right there. And so if my value comes from outside things that actually have no value until I make it have value,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm going to fall down every time. And so throughout the years of, helping build specific platforms or like being a part of my family doing it, it's been a wild journey. I've had moments where I've had to step back and be like, wow, I couldn't film this the way somebody else could. And then I'm like, well, wait, I'm not supposed to because I carry an image. I carry a beautiful light of something that no one else can. And it doesn't mean it won't look like something else.
Right.
But like you were talking about community earlier, we were actually made for community. We were
Right.
made for connection. And without it, you actually die.
Right.
And so in this, we
Yes.
have, you will.
Very-
There's blue zones around the world. that
Successful
live long.
Aging by Adam Grant. Amazing book.
Yeah.
And it talks all about that. Yeah. Sorry.
It's-
Sorry. Go
No,
ahead. Yes.
it's podcast. We get to
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but I think that's been we'll probably dive deeper into
Mhm.
our journeys and different things that we've
Right.
done and experienced. But I would say that is my core. If I cannot associate my identity with something that is not eternal.
I love that.
Right.
And yeah, I
And
was.
then, I was gonna say to also answer your question as well from like an everyday perspective.
Yes. That's yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like obviously social media is such a big thing in today's world, right?
yeah.
So
Staple.
there's a lot of pros, there's a lot of cons to it. It's a very beneficial tool if used properly. Obviously, you guys see the small percentage of people successful with it, but for the cons aspect of it, I think there's a very big comparison problem in today's society, right? And I think a lot of people focus on what they don't have versus
Right.
then what they actually have. And I feel like if someone just kind of like, turns it off, focuses on what they have, they'll realize they can build probably so much more than focusing on what other people have and why they can't do something.
Right.
But even with me, there's times where it's like, I follow a lot of business people, I follow a lot of agents. There's times, for example, like I'll see them doing something or someone's doing something where it's like, oh, wait, I probably could have done that.
Right.
Or it's like, why didn't I think about that? But usually if I start getting like in my head about questioning what I'm doing, I'll just try my best to like literally just turn it off. Like
Okay.
I'll just walk off, because if I go into that thought process, it's like detrimental.
Right.
And then God knows what else I'm missing.
Well, it seems like what I'm gathering from it too is like this is not a mutually exclusive feeling, regardless of industry, regardless of it's like we're all creatures of comparison, and it can all send us down that route. But I do love this perspective of identity, and then the shutting off thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I think the shutting off thing is like I feel like that's something. Maybe I'm jumping out of pocket here, but I also feel like it's a very like guy thing. Is like, especially if like for so many things, like, oh, we'll shut it off. And I used to do that a ton. Like, oh, I'm just gonna shut it off. I'm just gonna turn it off. And I feel like when the wave would come back, it would come back harder because I'm resisting these emotions that my bodies are like, you're gonna feel these and you're gonna deal with it. And every time it's like, no, I'm turned off. It's like it comes back stronger because you have to process the emotion of what your body's feeling, right? So it's like, do you ever feel like when you do shut it off, the wave comes back stronger? Because I've recently,
like the next time I encounter
the next
it,
time it's almost like, whoa, it's even more. It's almost like when you feel a trash can and you try to close the lid and you're like, all right, that's good for now. And then you have to dump more crap and then you
All the
close
mold
it.
is building up.
Yeah, and it's
Getting
it's
bigger
building,
and
it's
worse.
building,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
building, it's building. Because I used to do that all the time, and I've been trying to fall more into what you were saying, which is from what I've realized from like identity and stuff. It's like it's practicing gratitude, which is like a huge thing. People always hear, oh, gratitude and stuff, but it's like it really is a muscle you have to work to wake up and be like, oh, I'm thankful for what I have.
It's
you know,
also
it's
a
like
currency. And
A
you have to
current-
think
that's
about
good,
this.
yeah.
Like we think that the stuff that we've made valuable is currency.
Right.
But actually there is things in life that have currency regardless of if we're here or not. And so like when we focus
Bars.
on those things, right,
Right.
then we are tapping into something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's a huge piece about journeying through life is that I am actually not alone.
Right.
I'm
right.
not here in an isolated space that no one will understand me, because that's like a covering of anxiety and fear. And like you were saying, like the more I try to push that away, the bigger it gets, because
Mhm.
the more it's actually consumed me. And when
Right.
you don't face something that's
Because
so
you're
present,
not dealing with it.
yeah, like that's why, any struggles that do happen, like I have moments where I'll be like, no, I'm going in the corner now and I'm going to cry.
Mhm.
And not that that's bad, but when I'm victimizing myself, okay, there's a
Right.
very big difference between being vulnerable and victimization.
Right.
Hey, and I don't know if victimization is a word, but I'm making it one today.
Go
But
ahead.
but
Yeah.
like being like saying I'm a victim of something is actually saying it has power over you.
You're right. Yeah.
When vulnerability is saying you have no power over me.
Mm.
I've
Let's go.
exposed you. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like we're wiping this clean because I've decided it no longer has access.
So it's almost like vulnerability is saying, look, as an emotion, as what you're coming to me as, I understand you,
Yeah.
but you're not my owner. While victimization is like, I understand the emotion, but I'm also letting it control me.
Yeah.
Is kind of
Because it comes with offense.
Right,
And
right, right.
offense
Oh,
is,
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know what? It comes with shame
Right,
and guilt.
right.
It comes with loneliness,
Right.
anxiety, fear.
Yeah.
It comes with paranoia, because all these things that will encapsulate you, you're actually holding them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when when you're talking about gratitude and vulnerability, it's saying, this is real. I'm actually facing depression. Like I am
Mhm.
facing, it can go to abuse or fears or these
Mhm.
different things. They're very real. Now, how do I get out of this?
So okay, that was gonna be a huge question, because, and Brent, I have like a question for you too, because it's like, so I know in the creative aspect of things, if you're lucky enough to have any amount of success in the creative field, it comes with multiple things, which is very comparable to, funny enough, like real estate or entrepreneurship or
Oh,
anything like that. Is that like you have no stability? You're constantly wondering when the money's going to come in, and you have to also justify the work towards what you're doing. You have to wake up every day and make your own schedule. And like when these bouts come in and you feel like you can't do anything, you're depressed and everything like that. It's like, what are things you guys do? It's like, if as long as I do these three things or these like few things in my day, these daily rituals or whatever, these help keep me centered, because everyone's got something. It's like you can do these, widespread things like, hey, meditate for 10 minutes, and then some people are like, what the hell? Or like journal, or it's funny because you can tell these people what to do. Like you can tell the world what to do to kind of help these things. And I am thankful that we are so, I say, like, mentally forward in this generation, especially because I consider my parents, my grandparents, and the older generation stuff definitely were not. It was very much like tuck it down. You know what I mean? So I know we're forward in a lot of these things and how to get us through the day. But I'm very curious, like with those things, are there any specifics like that are subcategories of that type of thing, like journaling or meditation or whatever, that you guys do that keeps you centered on like a hard day or hard month or,
Jake, why don't you answer first your own question?
Oh, okay.
We'll go down the line.
Yeah, man, it's really tough too, because it's like, so I said the biggest thing I struggle with, especially in like an acting career, right, is I've been so unbelievably lucky to be able to live off acting. Like it's what I've gotten to do since I was about like 14. I've been able to make a living off of it, and I've been able to do a lot of amazing shows and work with a lot of amazing people. But it's the highs and lows are just insane. It's like, I mean, like we were super lucky to do National Treasure with Disney Plus. Amazing experience. Love my cast to death. Insane experience. But it's like the highs are so high. You're at Comic-Con and D23 and then El Capitan for your premiere, and you're doing all this press, and then it's just done. Right. And then it's like, and our show didn't go forward just with the strike and stuff like that. And so then you're sitting kind of going like, oh, wow, I'm just back to auditioning. Like I'm just literally back to no blanket of security, no nothing. It's like I'm just back, and it's like it's a different thing because you're back with that new experience and you have a little bit more going forward and stuff. But it's like you're always kind of having to champion yourself to be like, oh, okay, no, it's all right. Like work on this. So I think the three things, if I could nail it down, always journaling. The thing is, though, I don't know if people feel this as well. Sometimes I don't feel like my biggest problem is I used to think, oh, am I journaling right? And I don't think that's the thing. The point is, it's not doing it
Yeah,
right.
there's-
There is no such
I was gonna say,
thing.
there's no right way.
And I used to think so. It's just like always journaling, just spill out whatever. Always, always, always. I think the second thing is the minute I decided to start trying to be the student, like the minute I started just going like, I kind of suck at this. Like I've been getting by at X, Y, or Z, but I could be better. That is such a hard thing to rationalize yourself with. Like when you've been making a living off something or doing something pretty good, you know what I mean? It's like the most comfortable thing is just to be like, oh, you know, I'm good at this. I'm good. But the minute you go like, but like you could be better at this, right? Like if we sat down, it's like, yes, being the student and actually and actively looking for areas of my life where I could learn from other people or where I could like there's just so many things out there to like be able to learn. Like that helps me know I'm pushing forward. I'm pushing forward regardless on a slow day or whatever. I'm bettering myself. And then third is have you guys ever heard of like the chunking system?
No.
So the chunking system is basically like if you have a big goal, like whatever your goal may be, like maybe your goal is like, okay, I want to lose 30 pounds in 3 months, right? The chunking system, you'd have your big goal and you'd have your smaller goals. I hope I'm not butchering this, but this is what I consider the chunking system for like goals. And so you'd be like, this month though, it's not about 30 pounds. It's just like, okay, if you break it down, 30 pounds, all right, I want to lose like 5 pounds a week, 5 pounds every 2 weeks or 3 pounds every 2 weeks. You just make the goals to the big goal a little bit smaller. So if my goal was like, you know, I've been playing the piano a lot more to teach myself. My goal is like, I want to learn 3 songs, right? I want to learn 3 songs. Then you're like, okay, well, all I have to do this week is learn the first 16 bars to 1 song. And if I can get that done, then I'm chunking my goals out and it's pushing myself forward. Because there's a reverse effect that can happen when you're a goal setter, which I think is very important. We need goals as creatures. Like we need something to do to like point our life towards.
100%.
Yeah, like purpose and everything is so important. And so I'll do that. I'll do the like the micro goals, and that helps me get through. And I think those are. I have a few more things, but I think those are like the top 3 things recently. I'm 26 now. It's so weird. I feel like from 21 to 23 was a jump. 23 to 26 feels like I'm a different person. I've kind of started locking in like, okay, that's my zone. That's what feels right. And so those are my things, I'd say, you know.
Brandon.
I like that.
Yeah.
So there's a few things, but I think the biggest thing for me is ultimately working out, right?
Oh yeah, that's
and I feel like that's like a known thing by everybody, but you know, it's at the end of the day, it's like it's something that a lot of people still struggle with. And even like, let's say maybe like a year ago, right?
Mhm.
A year ago, I was like trying to work out or putting it on at night, and it was taking forever. I realized I was like even more stressed doing that. And then I would just never have time to actually like wind down like after work or
Right.
anything like that.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest life-changing thing for me was it was very hard to do, but start working out at like 5, 6 a.m.
Oh yeah, that's
But
all right, people. Listen,
Dedication.
man. Yeah,
but I will tell you right
I'm gonna
now.
let you keep that one. That's it.
Thank you. But that's definitely it has been a game changer in my days
Mhm.
every day, because by the time I hit 7 a.m. I'm like skyrocketing. you
Yeah,
know?
it makes
So,
complete sense.
Yeah, and I started doing that end of August. So end of August to now is I feel like just everything in my life
Mhm.
has just naturally gotten better. It's just because I've been more focused. I feel like before there's a lot of distractions.
Mm.
You know, mentally I wasn't really equipped to do a couple things, and it just kind of like, you know, created a whole new path for me, and it genuinely worked out for me. And yeah, I love doing it.
You know a sidebar thing about that too, which is like the 6 a.m. thing in itself. It sounds rough, but I was recently my girlfriend is super into all of this stuff, and she's a genius with like circadian rhythms and how all this affects your nervous system and how your brain functions and stuff like that. But actually, you getting up at like 6 a.m., you know, you getting up with the sunrise and going to work out and everything is actually going to by default make you better for the day
Mm-hmm.
because all of your chemicals are shooting out at the right time. You're waking up, your cortisol is actually like as you're waking up and your melatonin's been released and now you're getting that burst of energy. It's almost like
Right.
if you're a primitive, that's when you'd like wake up with the sun and then you go hunt. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
Or go get your meal for the day. That's when you go and put your body through that that rigorous training early
Right.
in the morning with the sun. That's why by 7 you're like, whoa, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just like, let's sell
also-
some houses, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you
And
know.
also the 3 or 4 shots of espresso help with that time too.
Oh yeah,
So-
yeah. Well, your
but,
biome's probably like, why are you doing this to me? But other than that, yeah.
And the other thing too is I like to research a lot of like very successful people, and I try to pay attention to just their habits. It's like, okay, what do they do to get there, and then what do they do to maintain that level? Because getting there and maintaining are 2 completely different aspects of
Right.
it. You know, so 90% of the people I researched all say like they work out before the sunrise and they do this. So it's like it was another motivational aspect to get me to do it. And now it's like I wouldn't see it any other way.
Dude, that's like
So-
Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power, and amazing author, also mastery and a good amount of books. But that's like one of his. Is like you basically go out and look for mentorship, even if you don't know the person. You're being an apprentice.
Yeah.
I will say
That's-
Brandon is one person that never gets intimidated by somebody. And I think that's one of his strong suits.
Yeah.
Is like he will analyze and observe, and then he'll be like, awesome, I can do that
Right.
in my own way. And that's a power that you
Yeah.
Oh
that you
yeah,
carry.
that's such a skill. That's such a
Thank you.
skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you
Thank you.
guys and you I appreciate it. And yeah,
Flirting over here.
you guys will meet Lucas. I'm sure he'll be on the podcast soon,
Yeah.
but he's my actual trainer, and I feel like even doing something like that, you need someone to hold you accountable.
Oh, of
Facts.
Like
course.
before I
Yes.
trained before with him, I was going to the gym by myself, and that was like the hardest thing in the world. 'Cause if I get tired, I can just leave.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, but I think it's funny too. It's and Kirsten's gonna laugh at this, but it's like my morning changes drastically if I do not have a drink.
Mm.
It's so funny, and I feel like that's just like a today's world type of thing.
Right. And let's
know what I mean?
specify here, people. He means like a coffee.
Or like,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Look, my
energy
morning is trash if I'm not drinking. All right? You know what I mean? Okay.
I can see how that'd be taken.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Hey, thanks for the clarification.
Yeah,
drink.
yeah.
Good to clarify.
Yeah.
Just a
But
very
I-
broad stroke right there. I got to have a drink in the morning. That gets me going.
It could be water. It could be
Yeah.
water.
I had another lifesaver too. I was like, my family got me a Christmas gift. They got me an espresso machine.
Oh, great.
So I've been doing that first thing in
I thought
the
you were going to
morning.
say like some tequila again.
So that-
Lifesaver.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that espresso machine, it hits. But I know how I know how like in today's day and world, it's like
Yeah.
okay, that's like needing like a Starbucks drink
Yeah.
or something
I
to
can't
move.
say anything. I have one
Yeah.
right here.
I got to start my morning with a few zinnies
Yeah.
and a drink.
And a drink.
But
So-
you know, I will say, sorry,
Huh.
to just follow up on your
Yeah.
answer though, is
Mhm.
it is true that every human being naturally does better with having goals.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
you wanna strive for something, you wanna work towards something.
Yeah.
So that's also something I think is very important. And I try to set daily goals.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
will like sometimes I'll either do it the night before
Mm.
or I'll do it the morning of when I wake up early, and I'll just jot down like all my to-do list, and then I will do the goal list of what I want actually completed.
Yeah.
And that genuinely helps me execute a lot of things.
I think a big thing too is it's regardless of industry, it's regardless of profession, it's regardless of like I'm not an idiot. I grew up. My dad works now. He's worked his entire life. He's a super hard worker. Both of my parents are super hard workers. Like everyone in my family had to work. You know, like
Right.
we didn't really come from much. Like we were okay, but you know, it's like it's always been working, and like so I completely understand anyone out there. It's like, oh yeah, well when you wake up, you don't have schedule. It's easy to be like, oh, I'm gonna go meditate, I'm gonna go journal, I'm gonna go get my workout in. It's like, dude, I totally get that. So I get how it's easy to like hear people, you know, say, well, I do, you know, first I do my ice bath, and then after my ice bath, I roll my face for about 10 minutes. It's like I
yeah.
totally understand
Yeah.
that. but there are like a handful of things if you do just set the time, like forming the habits.
Right.
I do think anyone can do. Period.
Right.
I've seen my
also,
old man do. I've seen.
and then
big dreams require big faith. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to invest and create risk
Yeah.
for things that I want. And
Yeah.
that's the thing is like you have the same time in a day.
Mhm.
And, you know, there'll be moments where you're lying on the ground like I have nothing and other moments where you're like I'm top of the world. But you need to actually like activate those things and like to tap into
Mhm.
this question. Rest is really important. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
always
Yeah.
ran from rest.
Yeah.
As
That's a
a
big one.
busybody, I would run from rest. I'd be like,
Mhm.
I am not working hard enough. I am making other people like I'm not being efficient. I am letting people down. I'm not doing stuff that I should be doing. And one day I was like, hey, Kirsten,
Hmm.
you might not wake up tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah.
And I know that that's like kind of a drastic statement, but it's not. It's very. I am not in control of my life, my breath.
Right.
The thing that I have is this 24 hours that I get to invest into. And what do I want to invest into? What kind of seeds do I want to plant? What
Right.
kind of things do I want to grow?
Mm.
And I think that that's the thing that keeps me stable because the life I've chosen is very unstable. It's always
Right.
adapting. But I think that's another thing is we have a still small voice in our head
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
that is literally leading us. And you get to pick. You get to pick what you do,
Mhm.
right? And there's there's so many paths. In every second you have a choice.
Mhm.
Every second I have a choice to do this or this, and one of them is going to lead to something else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a domino effect, but there's a good way and there's other ways that will be more challenging. And so I think that that's the thing is that keeps me moving in momentum is that I have to just be present. And that's hard for an entertainer. It's hard for a musician, for me.
Being present in general is
Oh
hard.
my
Yeah.
gosh. But like I constantly want to be living in other worlds and evolving into new characters and
Yeah.
like tapping into new scenery. And like at one point in my life, I was like, I would rather meet a new person every single day than meet the same person every day.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
could
because
see that.
it's easier. It's easier to just play the part and move on.
Mhm.
But to get vulnerable and intimate with people and actually work things through, in that is part of being successful.
Yeah.
That's success. If I think that the biggest high that you ever get, and it might be personal, but when I've seen that something I did made somebody's day
Yeah.
or like uplifted them or activated them to step into something that they are passionate about, to say, hey, like I know that this is your normal, this is what you're familiar with, but this is a choice.
Yeah.
Like truly, how we
Mhm.
handle situations and what we've been handed, we have a choice to break off generational stuff, to
Yeah.
say,
Right.
hey, I'm no longer doing that.
Mhm.
I'm going to see something differently. And it's not always a bad or a good thing. It's just I'm going to move in a different wave. And so that's what's kept me moving is that my parents really did. Like we had moments where we had absolutely nothing and we had moments where we had absolutely everything. But no matter what, my parents always never took away what we were passionate about.
Right.
And they
right.
said, and that was a gift. Not everyone has that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to hold that with me in my heart that like, no matter what I'm doing in the day, even if someone's coming at me or I lost a job or I didn't do as well as I thought I could, that those things are actually going to build my character.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that's like learning that I get to build, like you were saying, being a student.
Mhm.
That's a
Mhm.
huge part of life. Growing.
Mhm.
What is life without growth?
Right.
You know, and it's actually painful to grow. You should be pruned.
Yeah.
And that means sometimes relationships have to go.
Right.
Seasons move, you know, jobs move, environments move. Like, you know, one year I moved 4 times into
Yeah.
2 different states. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's crazy.
and you
Wow.
just have to keep present. And that's something I'm working on. So I just wanted to tap into that really quick is like, you know, no matter where you're at in this moment, like take a second to breathe and rest in it because you might never get that second again,
Yeah.
you know? And that's and how are we supposed to do our best work if we don't sit and receive? It's a give and receive life, you know?
Yeah.
We got to receive things.
Right.
And actually, to be honest, it's hard to receive things like a compliment,
Yeah.
like as simple as a compliment. Like,
Super hard.
you know what I mean? Like, and you feel like, oh, I'm shameful about my compliment.
Yeah.
But it's like, what the heck? Like,
Yeah.
when someone else shines, like when I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
Jake, the way that you speak is powerful, and I love the questions that
Shut
live
up.
inside of you.
Shut up.
Like
Stop.
it's like, or like Brandon, like your
Right.
determination
Shut your mouth.
is magical, and
Yeah.
like you're a go-getter. Like it's like, wow, like I know these things about myself, but training myself to have confidence in humility.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like that I actually can receive that because me operating in my giftings allows somebody else to tap into it. And
Yeah.
and that's a huge thing that I'm constantly learning. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a massive one for me.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
it's like
powerful.
it's true. It's like the moral of it, like the growth is in the humility. Like the
Mhm.
more you put yourself in a situation of humility and fear, the more you'll always exponentially reach your potential at such a faster rate, you know? But the being present thing, that's so hard. I don't know if you ever figure that out. I've really been thinking about that. Like that was one of my big goals this year was to be present. And I'm still working on it. It's such a difficult, and I don't know if it's like, you know, it could be a mix of hubris, it could be, you know, a mix of ADHD from just I know we throw that around so much, but it could just be a mix of like your brain being scattered because we're constantly scrolling and stuff like that. But it's like I've had so many moments in my life where I'm like, damn, dude, I wish I would have taken that in more.
Mm-hmm.
Like so many
Yeah.
moments where it's like the me 2 years ago was waiting for that moment for so long, and why am I not here? Like why am I not like sitting in this and being
You
like,
know-
wow? And I've just done that so many times in my life that I'm just like hoping to hell at some point I'll be able to look back and be like, okay, I was present there, or I was present there. And it's
Yeah.
like it's frustrating and it's human, but it's like that is one of the hardest. If there was a pill I could take to be like every day you're gonna remember the day and be present, here you go. I would take that thing
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that there's
That's funny you said that though, because that's something I was gonna. Yeah, I was gonna say. I was gonna ask a question on that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask your question.
Well, it's basically kind of like what he was saying too. I was basically gonna say like, is there like ever times, you know, because you've been in the industry since a little kid, you've been in your industry since a little kid,
Mm.
and like, was there genuine times where you hit a really big high, each of you in your industry, you guys accomplished something,
Mm.
and like, how did you feel in that moment, or did you feel like you kind of missed it because there was so much going on, which is what you kind of just went in on?
Yeah. I mean, I can specifically say I think the last project was something I was wanting so badly for so long, and I just feel like I wasn't in it. Like I was in it, like you know, the work and stuff, but I just feel like I
You were just
wasn't.
moving.
Once it was like so many things I had achieved that I'd just been fighting for and crying for, never even thought like myself in so many moments where I thought I would not be able to even be a part of something like that. So many ups and downs, and then to finally be a part of it. I like look back now and I was like, dude, I wish you just would have like taken it in a little more, you know?
Mhm.
And I feel like people say that all the time. Even when you watch like anyone like you're inspired by and stuff too. It's like I feel like I see multiple people say that. So it's obviously a unanimous struggle we all deal with. But I just like
Right.
regardless of
Right.
profession, regardless, you know, it's just like even my dad and I used to talk about it. He's like, there's so many moments I wish I would have just been there, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, yeah, man, I don't
Brandon
know
actually
what that
gets
is.
on me every day.
No, it's
He's
def-
like, Kirsten, why are you not present here? Kirsten,
Yeah.
you did something awesome. And I'm like, yeah, but I didn't do this.
See, and sometimes that's why
Yeah,
you need
yeah,
your person or
exactly,
your friends
exactly.
too. Like my sweetheart always always does such an amazing job of being like, babe, do you not realize what you're executing here, what you're doing? And it's easy. It's like, again, that's why you need to have goals
Yeah.
to be able to look back and see what you're doing. Because we look at ourselves in the mirror every day. We never see the change. It's
Yeah.
like you have to.
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say though. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It's an everybody thing
Yeah.
right now. So it's like
Yeah.
like what Kirsten said. You know, same times it's reversed.
Yeah.
Kirsten does the same thing for me.
I do. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I think that's a pretty epic full first episode.
Oh,
We
yeah,
got a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
little
I
good
guess,
golden
I guess
nuggets
so.
in there.
I guess so. We were getting little deepies.
That's okay.
Oh.
We have some deepy moments
Yeah.
and some shallow moments
I
with
want to go
burgers.
deepies more, man.
Deepies.
I could sit here and hug this cow pillow for
Deepies.
like 4 hours.
I know,
man.
right? Good thing we can do this. For
Okay,
long
next
term.
childhood trauma. Tune in next
Yeah.
week. We'll get into all that. Everyone can relate there.
Everybody. Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for tapping in. We'll
Yeah.
see you next week.
See ya.
Boom, boom.
Kisses. Busy buddies. Busy buddies.
You're not gonna get a high note out of me.